But look,
Oh no.
yeah.
It's like whiskey now is bad.
They're getting nervous, man.
Did you know what the first thing that came to my mind was? You guys will find this really weird. The first thing that came to my mind is you got a lizard in there?
What? Why would I have a lizard?
That's definitely wrapped up with some child trauma right there.
No, because I saw an Instagram reel today of some guy who had a pet lizard and it was like the size of a crocodile in his house.
Nice.
So that's like stuck with me today. It's like I'm gonna show you guys his reel.
Yeah, you
His
should.
the guy's Instagram account is like my pet lizard or something.
This is my camera.
Relevant.
So this is called the Freshly Grounded The Game, right? So this is Faisal's game that Freshly Grounded released. I don't know if you want to talk about if it's still there or is it coming back or what's going on.
First of all, thank you. I didn't know this wasn't planned. I didn't know that you bring this game out, but yeah, we basically created this game when COVID happened. We felt like there was a need for conversation, and we would put their devices away and have in-person connection when they, this was as we were coming out of lockdown, and so we created this game. It's I think 100 questions or 60 questions or something. I can't remember now. After it was a few years ago.
A lot of questions.
And the questions that kind of are built to help you build a connection with your loved ones, whether it's your children, your spouse, your parents, your friendship circle. The questions relate in all of those aspects. And some of the questions are just like really chill and relaxed, and other questions even have a bit of an Islamic tone to them, which you might see. So yeah, thanks for bringing them out, man.
No, man, because
they come back in stock.
They're coming back in stock.
Yeah, they're coming
So
back in
there you
stock like literally any day. We're just like waiting for.
I don't know when it's coming out,
waiting
but
at the door for the postman to arrive with our
Inshallah.
8,000
But hopefully when this
boxes.
episode comes out, it'll probably be already out.
Inshallah.
So if it does, I'll put the link in the
Thank you,
bio
man.
if I have anyone listening and buying. But I played this game with my family, and it changed the dynamic in how we speak in our family, especially with my mum. So my mum, like off the cut, she just started spitting out trauma, and I was just like, whoa, like, we wasn't ready for that. And I think she, like, once she did that, it became more of like a channel where we can kind of now speak about certain things. Like, it's not 100% there yet, but we can at least introduce the conversation.
Wow.
But I wanted to, I picked out a few questions, and I wanted to try it with you guys. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question, and what I'll do is I'll ask one question each.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to answer the same questions. Cool. But we start with Faisal. Tell me something about your father that you didn't appreciate until you became older.
I would, to be fair, my default answer would have been just that sheer level of hard work. But because I've already mentioned that, I'll mention something else. I think what I value about my dad, now that I'm older, is that he would always put his children first. You don't always notice that when you're in it, because it's the norm for you that, like, dad's providing X, Y, Z. But as you get older, you realize the struggles that a man goes through, and that life's not always hunky-dory, finances aren't always the best. But we never saw a drop in quality of our provision from him. And we would think that's because he's just always good, but it wasn't. It was because that's the constant that he wasn't willing to sacrifice, and everything else he was willing to sacrifice, even if it meant that he wasn't going to eat, we was going to eat good. And I only noticed that getting older because, first of all, I'm like, as an adult, I now have children and stuff, and I see how difficult it is. But also, like, we've had conversations about this, and yeah, that's probably the thing that I value about my dad the most. Yeah,
I like that. Kaya, I really like this question because it kind of makes you put, the feeling of hate aside to find love, right? So this one's, think about someone you recently had a disagreement with without telling me who they are. Share 3 amazing qualities about them.
Okay. They're extremely observant. They're extremely loving. And they are avid problem solvers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
and they do eventually apologise.
Yeah, exactly.
You can really answer that question so passive aggressively. Yeah. When they finally understand what they did wrong,
they're great at talking for ages.
Faisal, you're gonna love this one. When was the last time you cried?
The last time I cried was genuinely. Last time I cried was I was filming the intro for a Freshly Ground episode the other day, and I was talking about the situation in Palestine, and I had to shoot about 3 times because I cried, and I didn't realize that I would cry because I hadn't physically cried yet about the situation. Not because I wasn't super upset by it, but because I hadn't, like, when you speak to people about it, you're like, oh, like, have you seen this is happening now? And it's like, oh, it's really terrible. And then, you speak about it, and you speak about it in circles, and you're all speaking about it and kind of like having a conversation. But I hadn't spoken out loud about it when I was by myself.
Yeah.
And I had all of the time and silence to speak about it in a really slow way and to internalize every word because I'm going to be speaking about it for video. And when I had the opportunity to do that, then I cried doing that. And it was at the moment when I was speaking about the images and videos that you were seeing of children and of like children's bodies and stuff like that. And so yeah, that was the last time I cried.
Even when I see those things, I can feel like a lump in my throat.
And you can kind of like be like, oh, I can feel a lump. Let me change the subject, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I didn't have that escape that time. That was the first time I didn't have that escape.
Well, I mean, it's a like I really want to talk about it, but I'm not educated enough to talk about it. But I think it is something that, you know, it's always free Palestine, and I think it's so heartbreaking because even like even my mother, like my mum's just kind of just like, she's like, imagine if those were my kids, and she's like putting herself in that shoe, and she'll be like, oh my God, like, you know, I just feel like crying and so on. And when I'm seeing them, like I'm just retweeting everything that I see, as gruesome as it is. I just want as many people to see it because it's reality. But like I'm seeing certain ones, and it's just like I can feel that lump, and then even that, like it brings this like it's like a flashback of different feelings that I'm getting, and it's like not just now. I'm not just feeling about the Palestine thing. I'm like feeling other things, and it's just making me like have this anxiety. But yeah, it's free Palestine, and I think whatever Israel's doing is definitely wrong. And I just think you should be able to see the truth just by seeing those videos, and I think that speaks the most loudest than anyone can explain. Okay, Kyle. Next question. Tell me something about your mother that you didn't appreciate until you became older.
I think I've got 2 children now, alhamdulillah, and my mum had 3, so I'm one of three boys. I think balancing that, I can already see my children are young. One is literally a few months old, but I can already see how challenging it's going to be balancing them as they grow up. So for her to do that, and she did it quite well, Alhamdulillah, with 3 boys, I can appreciate that now, and I imagine in 10 years' time I'll appreciate it even more.
But do you appreciate that from your perspective or like from your wife's perspective? Like, oh my God, I can see how tough it is for you. Imagine what mom went through. Or are you kind of just like, just looking after these kids, and how did my mom do it?
What I think the main thing here is like making sure everybody feels loved, right? Because children need to be loved in their own ways as well. You can't just show them love in one way and expect them both to experience it the same way, if that makes sense. You know, this one is a bit more emotional. You know, this one's a bit more, to the point. You know, this one over here is more about, he just cares about sports and whatnot. You need to sort of show them love in different ways. And I think she did that well, because I don't think any of us ever really felt, you know, when you've got, I kind of feel like when the more siblings there are, the more likely it is that one feels like they're the least favourite, or one feels like they're kind of the favourite, and it's like a rivalry that
Are you the oldest?
No, I'm the middle one.
Oh, okay.
I'm the middle child.
The middle ones feel the least loved.
What is it? I can't really say that I did feel that, is what I'm saying.
That's nice.
Because I think a lot of middle children do have that. And although I do, like when you read about middle child syndrome, I get it. I was like, yeah, I get that. But I don't ever look back and think, man, I was not loved enough or anything like that. I think she balanced it. And my dad, of course. But I think obviously she was the one who spent most time with us. I think she balanced it very, very well. And I don't think that's an easy thing to do at all. I can see that already. So I think that's what I appreciate a lot.
Okay, nice. Faisal, what are you preventing yourself from feeling?
I think I'm quite good at understanding my emotions and what I'm feeling. So I don't think I'm necessarily preventing. What was the question? What am I preventing myself from feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm necessarily preventing myself from feeling something specifically, but I would say that I'm working on feeling overwhelmed less.
Okay.
So I'm trying to prevent myself from feeling overwhelmed, I guess.
From what? Like work or?
Yeah, from work and all the responsibilities. And the reason for that is because I know that I'm the one who is, I have these responsibilities. And so if I feel overwhelmed, I'm not going to be my best self to my kids, to my wife and stuff like that. So even though I'm not like trying to prevent myself from feeling it as in, I've got this feeling and I'm trying to block it, I am trying to prevent myself from feeling it as in, I'm trying to become better at battling that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, Alon Barak, I think in the short time I've known you, I can see that you've succeeded.
I appreciate that.
Alon Barak. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about something, both of yous.
Well,
But after this last
Get nervous.
question, what's your favorite struggle, Kaya?
my favorite struggle.
That's a crazy question.
It is a crazy. That's deep. My favorite struggle. I guess it is this concept of like growth in general, both in the dunya and akhirah. Right, we're trying to grow our careers.
For those that don't know what dunya and akhirah is,
The afterlife. So Islamically, obviously, we want to work for the afterlife first and foremost to, on a day of
so that's the
judgment.
akhirah,
Akhirah is the afterlife.
and
right?
dunya is
Dunya is this worldly
world.
life that we're living currently. And it is a struggle, but like, again, Islam gives me that a lot of happiness and contentness and the tools I need to be patient when things are bad, and grateful when things are good.
yeah.
And I feel like the more you learn, the more you grow. And it's just like Islam gives you like a cycle of just like good. Even when bad things are happening, you can get good from it. If you're in a mad situation, mad disasters happening to you, you can have patience with it and get good, get rewarded.
So when it comes to the question of like, what's your favorite struggle?
I guess just like life in general. That's what I'm trying
Life's
to get.
your
I guess
favorite-
like
your favorite struggle.
because what I'm saying it impacts every part of your life. So raising children, this you could have highs and lows. Your marriage, you have highs and lows. Your career, you can have highs and lows. When I think about what am I doing for the next life, I'm gonna have highs and lows. But the good thing is, Islam gives me the tools to make even the lows really their highs, and so I can try and build more. If that makes sense, in this life and in the next life, I can try and build on top of that and grow. Even though I know I'm really doing a bad job of both, right?
So it's kind of like you enjoy struggling in life because you know it brings you closer to God.
Inshallah.
Or like God's got answers for everything and you're kind of just learning new ways to deal with things. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I guess I'm trying to sum it up in a sentence. I haven't really thought about it until you really just said it like that. But I guess once you do understand like what our purpose here is, it makes it very, very clear, and you know that you're going to get trials, you know you're going to get tests, you know you're going to have those lows in life, and so all you've got to do is what you can do in those situations. You be patient, you be grateful, you do what's Islamically required of you in those times, and then you just have to just like get through that and get to the end, which is death in this sense. And that sort of journey is a struggle. It's not easy, but I feel like, again, Islam's giving me the tools I need to do it. And so it's like, it's my favorite struggle, you said? It's my favorite struggle because it's a struggle, but what other struggle do I have that's as good as that? Like following Islam to the best of my ability and trying to grow in that and grow in this life at the same time. You can't put anything above that.
I agree. I have one last question. It's from a special guest. From a special person.
Okay.
really special to one of you
I thought I
guys.
was going to walk in like,
I wish. They're based in London.
Mr. Blobby walks in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is it so special? Yeah.
I wish. This person's in London.
Okay.
He's asked a question to both of you guys.
Okay.
Right? And I'll tell you who asked the question after you asked the question. If you can go back in time with the knowledge you have now, what would you stop your younger self from doing?
You want to go first? I can go if you need something.
Yeah, you go, yeah.
I think it harkens back to what you said earlier, which is like listening to people around you at the time. And in my case, I don't think it was like anything malicious or anything like that. But I think it's like the default thing, which is like you must go to university.
Yeah.
That's the pathway to success. You get your A levels, you go to university, you get a degree, and you get a job, and I guess parents, especially today, I think is even more clear. But like 10, 20 years ago, it was like it still seemed like a safe and stable way to go about things. And so that was all I was hearing around 16, 17, 18. And so I would stop myself from listening to that and going to university and wasting like the 3 or 4 months I did. I dropped out after 3 or 4 months. But even those 3 or 4 months, honestly,
So you didn't finish uni?
No, 3 or 4 months I dropped out.
Oh, wow.
Alhamdulillah. But that whole, if I could go back, I would like start what I started at like 19, 20, like then.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, everything that happens makes you who you are. Allah's the best of planners, alhamdulillah. I don't regret anything, but that's, if I had to say something, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm honest, the reason I'm struggling to find an answer is because of what you just said, which is I don't really regret anything. Obviously, I have loads of regrets in my life, but because I know that how Allah decreed my life to go, I'm content with His decree. So that's why I find it a bit difficult to answer. But I'd probably say like knowing
that's like now, right? With both your mentality now. But let's say you just knew younger Faisal was just about to do something stupid or think something stupid.
Yeah.
What could I do? Like, what could I say to him? Like, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Like, what would you say to the younger self?
Okay, I would say to him to make decisions with confidence. Because I've always been indecisive, struggled with indecisiveness, and I've also sometimes struggled with confidence, which sounds weird. But when I have struggled with confidence, when I've done things with confidence, they've worked out all right. So sometimes confidence is that little inch that makes the biggest difference. And I kind of always think about a free runner who's like jumping from one building to another with like nothing attached to him. And I think that person is only doing it because they're so confident that when they jump, they're going to make it to the other end. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. And now imagine if they did that jump, but for a second they doubted themselves. Like that's a life altering like thing, right?
Like they could die.
Yeah.
They're like fall through the gap. So I think to myself like, I want to make decisions and do things with that level of confidence, knowing that I will make it to the other building. And if I was to do that, then then even if I do fail, I guess like you'd rather fail having given it your all than deciding that you failed before you even started.
Yeah, I think you just summed up what I was trying to say earlier, which is like, which might have been much more eloquent than Alhamdulillah, was what I was saying, like my struggle, right? That whole free runner metaphor, I feel like it's my favorite struggle because I know that even if I do fall through the gap, I get that moment where I've fallen through the gap. Again, Islam's giving me the tools. It's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
There's a safety net just underneath.
Yeah, even if everything collapses and Islam's giving the tools to be fine. And not just fine, but to get good deeds from that situation.
Yeah.
So what's the problem, really? It's not confidence. It's just like, doesn't really matter. Just try your best. Whatever's written for you is going to happen. You try and get to that building, confident or unconfident. You fall through the gap. Calm, man. Like, have sabr with it, have patience with it, and keep it moving. That's kind of why I feel like I said, Islam's giving me the tools to like just go about life.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Who asked that question?
It was Kel.
Okay.
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah. Your
No
brother.
way.
Yeah. I reached out to your brother, but he didn't reply back to me. So he's
Was it
busy.
yesterday?
No, I messaged him today, to be fair.
Okay.
And he does take like 3-4 days to reply back to me. So I tried. But
That's a good question.
I got
That's a good
Karen.
question, yeah.
Karen gave.
Nice.
How did you have his number?
I got his number. What do you mean?
Guys,
We became
You're
friends when he
asking
came.
Kyra has got someone's number. This guy is
Yeah,
Mr.
this guy's
Network.
Mr. Network. Yeah, true, it's true.
Hello, Ben.